Hey, so in today's video, I have another client interview. His name is Kevin, and we started working together at the middle point of February. And right now, he just closed his third deal and with his third client, and he's at 9.5K. So he went from zero to 9.5K in basically 30 days. And that's super crazy to me because I know when I first started my own lead generation agency, it took me 60-ish days to go from zero when I was first starting the business to 10K per month. And Kevin completely smashed that. He went from zero to 9.5K, which is basically 10K. Well, it's not, but zero to 9.5K in basically a month. And that's super crazy. So in today's video, I have a client interview with him where he gives a lot of actionable advice, valuable insights on how he was able to do it so quickly, some advice for people who are just looking to start their own lead generation agency. And the craziest part is when I first started working with him, I started working with him on February 16. He actually sent me a message saying he wanted to make this work and he wanted to end up making a testimonial video for me, right? And here we are, basically a month later, with him doing exactly just that. So it's pretty crazy, and hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you find it valuable. I also included a link to Kevin's YouTube channel, a link to his website in the description below. You could go and check that out. But hope you have an amazing day and hope you like this video. Thank you. Hey Kevin, so I guess what we could do first is if you could just introduce yourself to the people watching this, like kind of like your background, who you are, I guess where you live, like that type of stuff.
Yeah, so I'm Kevin. I run a lead generation agency through Jimmy's program. I used to be a software engineer and, decided to help other software development agencies generate leads. So that's currently what I'm doing, and I'm in Los Angeles.
Nice, nice. So you started working with me. I was actually just checking. So you started working with me on February 16th. So today's April. So a little bit over a month ago, a month and a half ago ish, that type of thing. Um, what are kind of the results looking like? I know that you signed three clients now. But if you could just explain to everyone else kind of like how much money you've made, like how many clients you have, that type of thing.
Yeah, so it just started to once I set up the infrastructure and started the campaign. I mean, it did take a bit to set everything up, but once it got going, there was a lot of interest. So last week, in 1 week, I signed three new clients, and um, I the setup costs alone, it was 9,500.
That's nice. So you basically so within like essentially let's say a month of you actually starting this, building the lead generation agency, you kind of went from zero to 9K, almost 10K essentially, right? Basically in around a month. That's pretty impressive, right? Because I know when I started, it took me 2 months. So I think in a way you kind of went faster. Um, I guess my question for you then, right, is because obviously there's a lot of people who are trying this business model, right? Whether they are working with me inside the program or they're just doing it on their own or other people's program, whatever the case is. And not everyone is able to get that type of result, right? Some people try it for like half a year and they just don't make any money. What would you say are some of the key things that you did that was different from all the, from other people who may not have seen the success that, you've seen at that timeline?
Yeah, I do think well, first of all, now that you mention it, that's pretty crazy. Now that I think about it, 9,500 in 1 week, it's hitting me now. But I think I do have a unique advantage in the sense that, I come from the similar background of software engineering. So I think that appeals to a lot of the founders and business owners. But the approach that I think is most helpful that I bring in my calls with my prospects is to um, really make sure that our interests are aligned. So when I'm getting on a call with the prospect, my primary objective is not so much to just sign them on, because like what I value more is brand equity and reputation equity over time, right? Satisfied
Yeah.
customers and high retention rates. So what I try to do is to qualify them, make sure that my service will be a good fit, that they will get a high return from using my service.
Right.
And when you truly have that kind of interest alignment, I think prospects are able to, like kind of read between the lines, right? People aren't dumb, right? They could
Yeah.
they could kind of understand if someone's trying to pull a fast one. So I think that that has been pretty helpful.
100%. And I think the main idea is looking at it from the perspective of making sure you're actually delivering value, right? Like you're there to solve a problem. These business owners, they have a specific problem, you have a specific solution, and being able to understand the problems and explaining why what you have, the service that you offer, is the solution. And looking at it from the perspective of the more value you deliver, the more money you make, right? Rather than just like you said, right? I'm here gonna sell you something for $3,000, whatever the case is, and I'm gonna move on and not care at all, right? So that's a
Right.
really good perspective, and it's very important to have that, and it makes it easy for you to continue growing as well. Um,
Mm.
I guess my next question is, what would you say have been your experience just working with me? Like, uh, yeah, what has been that experience like?
Yeah, well, I would say that anyone that's, looking to, start a venture, there's a couple like ways you can go about it, but working with you pretty much covers everything, right? So there's a structure aspect, right? You have an entire structure of courses that goes from A to Z. And secondly, it's not like unnecessarily long. It gets straight to the point, and it's a step by step. You actually show like how to do everything in detail. And then thirdly, having those consultation calls, I think is important. You could have one or the other, right? You could have simply consultation calls with no structure, which is helpful, but there's no structure and you don't know what you don't know. Or you could have just, the course itself, which is also helpful, but there's still nuances and knowledge gaps along the way. So when you have both structure and the consultation, I think that really fills in all the knowledge gap to allow for a successful venture.
For sure. And I agree with you. And I think the main value behind that is because, like in any business, even outside this lead gen model, like whether that's drop shipping or Amazon or SMMA, there's a lot of information for how to actually do the actual stuff, right? Like the strategies is, not rocket science, but as people are doing it, there's like a lot of like just random stuff that comes up. Like it's unexpected. And you're gonna like people just struggle and all that stuff compounds and it leads to people taking half a year of not making money at all. So there's like all these like random little things that just happen, questions, problems, people get stuck somewhere. And that's I guess kind of the weakness with just a lot of courses too, right? It's just videos of being like, this is how you do this, do that, do that. And as people are actually doing it themselves, they get stuck. And then without that support, they are more prone to just giving up or not being
Right.
successful at it at all, right? So I guess my second last question, don't want to bombard you, man, but my second last question is, um, what would you say your advice is to someone who might be looking or might be interested in starting a lead generation agency, right? What would you say that success or sorry, that advice would be? If you could go back a month and talk to the Kevin a month ago, what would you say as advice for that?
Yeah. I think it's definitely prudent to have that structure in place. Some of those points you mentioned, it's really uh you either make it or you don't. And each of those variables factor in quite significantly, right? So, you could do it on your own and you could spend the time doing all the research and learning. But even then, along the way, without having like a support system in place, without having, the community aspect of seeing how other people are being successful, that mindset is huge. And even if you are able to sign a client, then what are you going to do after that point? How are you going to deliver the service? You might just end up giving up, right? There might be, at best, you'll have subpar results. At worst, you're just going to give up along the way. So, for someone that's looking to start a lead gen agency, I think it would be good to find um, uh, a good program with consultation and the structure.
For sure. So I guess the final question then, leading to your point then, is you kind of covered it a little bit, but what would you say is your honest review of just working with me? Or if you could, I'm sure when you first started a month ago, you might have had like some hesitations, right? There's obviously a lot of people online saying a bunch of different things. What would you say is your review to, a month ago, that Kevin, when you were thinking about working with me?
Yeah, I would say it's probably the highest return on your investment. Um, you know, if you are committed to doing lead generation. I mean, I think the expectations should be like reasonable, right? Not everyone is probably going to have the same success as me, given my background. But if you are looking to go into lead generation, it's kind of a no-brainer to have structure and consultation, because what you get in return is going to be like way greater multiples of what you invest.
For sure, Kevin. But that's pretty much my questions for today. Great job with signing the clients. Exceptional results. If you could just drop it in the wins as well in the Discord. But that's pretty much it, man. Every time I jump onto a consulting call, you're like, oh, by the way, I just signed a new client. By the way, I just signed two clients, right? So looking forward,
Yeah.
man. And thanks for your time today, man. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
So that's about it for today's video. Hope you found it valuable. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned a lot from what Kevin had to say. If you are building your own lead generation agency, or you're looking to start your own business, start your own lead generation agency, and you want to go from zero to $10,000 per month in the next 90 days, then I included a link to my calendar in the link below, and we can set up a time to chat. If you want to become similar to Kevin, the next Kevin, and go from 0 to 10K per month in the next 90 days, then set up a time to chat, and we will see how we can help you, right? But the only thing with that is I can't help everybody. If you're not committed to the process, or you're looking to get rich quick, right? Similar to what Kevin said, right? You could only make money by delivering value to your clients, to your customers, rather than looking at it from, oh, I'm gonna just start this and make $10,000 in the next month, in the next 2 months, in the next 3 months. Then obviously that's not gonna work. And if that's you, then what we have here, on the calendar is just not for you. But if you're looking to build a real business that provides real value to business owners, and you're trying to scale from 0 to 10K per month in the next 90 days, then I included a link to my calendar, and I'll see you there. But that's all I have for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash that like button, drop me a subscribe, drop a comment, and I'll see you on the next video. See ya. Bye-bye.